Speaker, I endorse the bill and look forward to it coming back from the Commerce Select Committee in due course.
I understand the next call is a split call. I'll ring the bell at 4 minutes. Phil Twyford.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. As my colleagues have said, Labor is supporting this bill with considerable reservation. We are willing to support it to the Select Committee at this stage because we feel that the issues the bill is ostensibly dealing with are important. They're important to New Zealand's economic development. They're important for the stewardship of our natural environment. And we intend, sir, to hold the government to account. We will be subjecting this bill to scrutiny at the Select Committee, sir, and we look forward to having debates there. This bill comes to the House against a backdrop of political debate about two huge issues for New Zealand, sir, jobs and the environment. And as Grant Robertson was saying earlier, this government's philosophy about economic development and the environment is that you trade off one for the other. That if you want jobs, then you have to be willing to sacrifice the environment. It is a 20th century philosophy, or maybe even a 19th century philosophy, Mr Speaker. And let's look at those two issues and let's look at the government's track record, because that is the context that we should, in which we should consider this bill. On jobs, the government wants to say that if you want more jobs, if you want economic development, then you should support mining and you should support extractive industries at any cost. This is the government that has presided over the loss of tens of thousands of jobs and is absolutely unwilling to countenance a range of policy options, sir, that have been discussed in this House over the last few days, last few weeks, that would give more support to our manufacturing sector, which delivers thousands and thousands of high-value skilled jobs, but this government is apparently content to allow them to hemorrhage away as one industry after another announces mass layoffs and skilled New Zealanders leave this country for jobs across the Tasman. So the government has, you just look at the statistics for the last 4.5 years, sir, they have an appalling record on job creation, and their idea of job creation is hiring more people in work and income to harass people who are on welfare benefits. That's this government's idea of job creation. Let's look at the environment. This is the government, sir, that gutted the emissions trading scheme. We're no longer a leader. We're no longer a fast follower. We're just a kind of disinterested, passive observer when it comes to dealing with the challenge of climate change. They brought in some ridiculously weak legislation to deal with the environmental regulation of the exclusive economic zone. They spent months and months in their first term of government trying to engage New Zealanders in a debate about mining conservation land, mining Schedule 4 land, and were firmly rebuffed by the public on that issue. They have systematically underfunded the Department of Conservation, and this is the government that refuses to do anything significant about protecting the last few remaining Maoi's dolphins. So they don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to environmental issues and environmental stewardship of our nation, sir. And yet they come to this House and say to New Zealanders, if you want jobs, if you want economic development, then you have to support our agenda on extractive industries. Well, I don't think that's the way New Zealanders see it, and it's pretty clear, sir, it's pretty clear that most New Zealanders want economic development, but they are not prepared to sacrifice the natural environment that we treasure in this country. They want safeguards in place, they want reasonable controls in place, and I think that when this bill is debated at Select Committee, then the public will see that there are provisions in this bill which are simply about tilting the playing field all the way downhill to Rio Tinto Zinc and other mining companies, sir. And as my colleagues have said, there are two issues that we are particularly concerned about, and unless they are resolved, we will not be supporting further progress on this bill. And the first is joint ministerial approval, sir, and the second is the economic benefit test. And my colleagues have discussed both those issues. Unless we see satisfactory resolution, we will not be supporting further progress of this bill. Thank you.
Call Eugenie Sage. I'll ring the bell
Mr.
at 4
Speaker.
minutes.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, the